Okay, I want you to try something with me for a second. Just a quick thought
Go
experiment.
ahead.
Okay, close your eyes. Imagine it's the year 2145. You're in Neo-Tokyo, you step outside, you feel that warmth on your skin.
Mm-hmm.
You look up at that giant burning star in the sky. It's bright. It's real.
Yeah.
Now, here's the rule.
Uh,
If you open your mouth and say the word sun, you are a criminal.
and not just like a minor infraction. We are talking immediate state-level consequences for saying a noun.
It sounds completely insane, right? It's
Yeah.
like something out of a fever dream. But that's the premise of the story we are unpacking today.
It is. The story is called The Silence of Every Day by an artist, Creature Studios.
And when I first read this, I was expecting, your standard young adult rebel against the system kind of thing. But it's much quieter and
Yeah.
honestly, much more disturbing.
It really is, because it attacks something we take for granted every single day.
The ability to just
Yeah.
name things.
Our ability to label reality. This isn't about censoring a political manifesto or, a protest song. It's about erasing everyday words.
And it asks this terrifying question. If you delete the word for a thing, does the thing itself sort of cease to exist for us?
That's the mission for this deep dive. We're going to look at this world, Neo-Tokyo, and try to understand why words like friend became illegal.
And how it all connects back to some very real, very current frustrations with algorithms and online moderation. We've even got some user comments and a second really short story from the author that, well, it gives us some clues.
And just a heads up for everyone listening, this one gets pretty heavy. It's a cautionary tale, and it really doesn't pull its punches. This isn't a story that wraps everything up nicely.
So let's set the scene. Year 2145. Who's in charge? Who decided sun is a bad word?
That would be the GLRA, the Global Language Regulation Authority.
Of course it has an acronym.
Of course. And to understand how society gets to this point, you have to look at how they started. The text is very specific. They began with, quote, good intentions.
Ugh, the road to hell. It never starts with, let's be evil.
Precisely. The GLRA was first formed to eliminate hate speech. Slurs, incitements to violence, things that genuinely cause harm.
And most people would probably agree with that mission, right? You want a kinder, safer society.
Exactly. I mean, if you told me, hey, we're going to get rid of hate speech, I'd say, sounds good to me. But the story makes it clear this didn't happen overnight. It was a slow creep.
A slippery slope.
A literal slippery slope formalized into a government body. The text explains that the list of banned words just kept growing. First, it was hateful. Then it became potentially problematic.
Okay.
And then, and this is the real pivot, it moved to words that were deemed ambiguous.
Ambiguous. That is such a bureaucratic trap. I mean, almost everything is ambiguous if you really break it down.
That's the GLRA's logic, if
Yeah.
you can call it that. Ambiguity leads to misinterpretation. Misinterpretation leads to conflict. So to ensure perfect peace, you need perfectly sterile language.
Language is code. Input A gives you output B. No room for emotion.
Zero room. If a word can mean two different things to two different people, the GLRA sees it as a threat.
Which brings us to that banned list. We've got sun, but the story also lists book and friend. Now, book, I kind of get. Authoritarian regimes always go after books.
Sure, ideas are dangerous.
But friend, why is friend a dangerous word?
Well, think about what a friend is. It's subjective, right?
Well,
Is it a coworker? Is it someone you'd take a bullet for?
it's a private bond.
It's a private bond. In a system like this, your only loyalty is to the state. A friendship is an unmonitored alliance, a little pocket of privacy.
So by banning the word, they're trying to sever that connection.
Exactly. If you can't call someone a friend, what are they? A fellow citizen, a unit, something functional, cold.
And it changes how you treat them.
It absolutely does. It touches on that whole idea of linguistic relativity, that the language you speak shapes how you see the world. If you strip the warmth from the words, you eventually strip it from the interactions.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
And to enforce all this, the city is basically a giant microphone.
A total panopticon. AI systems are monitoring everything. Every conversation, every text, every whisper.
And the punishment isn't just a fine.
No, the text mentions hefty fines and mandatory re-education, so people are quiet because they are terrified. It creates this culture of self-censorship. You start policing your own thoughts before the AI even has a chance to.
Imagine just walking down the street, seeing something beautiful, and having to physically stop yourself from describing it. That's the feeling this city gives off.
It's a suffocating silence. It's not peace, it's suppression.
And into this world steps our protagonist, Lena. She's a journalist, which seems like a terrible career choice here.
It's definitely high risk, but she's our anchor to the past. She's old enough to remember the before when language was messy and colorful. She feels the phantom limb of those missing words.
And the thing that kicks off the whole plot is so simple. So analog, she's in a library.
A place that's probably mostly abandoned in this world.
Right. She's in some dusty corner, and she finds an old dictionary.
Right.
And this scene, it's surprisingly emotional. She's just flipping through pages, reading definitions. She hasn't found a weapon. She's found a list of words.
But for her, it is a weapon. It's a rediscovery. The text says she marveled at the richness of the language that had once been. It shows you just how starved she and everyone else is.
It's like eating flavorless nutrient paste your whole life, and then someone hands you a strawberry.
The contrast would be overwhelming.
And she finds 3 specific words, 3 concepts that have been totally erased. I want to read them out because they're basically the pillars of the whole story.
Yeah.
Freedom, love, and hope.
You notice the pattern there, right?
They're all abstract. You can't point to them.
Exactly. You can point to a chair and say, chair. The GLRA probably allows that. It's functional. But hope, love, those are internal. They're messy. They're uncontrollable.
How do you even explain that feeling to a kid if you don't have the word love?
Or how do you process it yourself if you feel this tightness in your chest for someone, but you have no word for it? Do you just think you're sick? That it's a glitch?
The story suggests that without the word to contain the feeling itself starts to evaporate from the culture.
It just becomes noise in your brain instead of a clear emotion.
And that is terrifying. So Lena is holding this dictionary, this paper bomb, and she decides she can't just keep it to herself. She finds a group.
The Whisperers.
Such a great name for a resistance in a story about language.
It fits perfectly. And they aren't your typical sci-fi rebels. They're not stockpiling weapons or hacking mainframes.
No, their rebellion is entirely linguistic.
They meet in secret, in basements and bunkers, just to talk, to share old stories and recite poetry. It just speaks to this fundamental human need to express something beautiful, even when it's dangerous.
They use coded messages, symbols, gestures. It's like a secret society of poets.
They're trying to keep the pilot light of language on while the rest of the world has gone cold.
So Lena brings them the dictionary. And this is the turning point. They have the source code of the old world. And they come up with a plan that, when I read it, I just thought, this is suicide.
It is. They know it is. But it's also this grand gesture. They decide to hijack a citywide broadcast system.
And again, the story subverted my expectations. I was ready for the big V for Vendetta speech, rise up, overthrow the oppressors.
A call to arms, a manifesto.
Right. But she doesn't do that.
No, she knows rhetoric can be twisted, so she goes for something much more primal. She gets in front of that microphone and she just reads the list.
Son, book, friend, freedom, love, hope. That's it. That's the whole broadcast.
It's minimalist, but it's incredibly powerful. It's not an argument, it's a reminder.
And the public's reaction, it's described so vividly. It says there's a moment of silence and then this collective awakening.
And it's physical. This is the key part. When they hear son, they don't just process the word, they recalled the warmth.
And friend brought back the comfort of an embrace.
Yes. The word unlocked the sensory memory the GLRA had tried to bury.
It's described as humanity rushing back in. And at this moment, you're cheering. You're thinking, okay, here we go. The revolution is starting.
You want the Hollywood ending. You want the music to swell.
I really did. I wanted the Ewoks dancing. But that is not what happens.
No. This is where the story pivots from an adventure into a tragedy. A true cautionary tale.
It happens so fast. The GLRA doesn't panic.
Yeah.
They don't waver. They just activate.
They respond with overwhelming superior force, which is probably what would really happen. Drones flood the streets, enforcers mobilize. Neo-Tokyo is on lockdown within hours.
And they find the Whisperers. They raid the hideouts. Lena doesn't get away.
No. And the tribunal scene is just brutal. She's charged with inciting rebellion, and her verdict was obviously decided before she even walked in.
Her sentence isn't just prison, it's re-education. Specifically, her memories will be systematically erased.
It's the ultimate censorship. Killing her would make her a martyr, but erasing her memory.
Deletes the source of the rebellion.
They're wiping the dictionary out of her head, turning her into a blank slate that fits their mold.
And for the city, the brief flicker of hope is just snuffed out. The GLRA expands the banned list even further.
The story ends with the line, Fear replaced the fleeting hope. The silence wins.
It's a grim ending. It suggests that once a system like this is in place, one spark isn't enough. In fact, the spark just gives the system a reason to install better fire extinguishers.
You can't wait until a house is already built to object to the blueprints.
It leaves you feeling really hollow. But I think that's the point. The author wanted to warn us, not entertain us. Which brings us to the why.
Right, we have some info from the author, Creature Studios, on what inspired this.
In the description, they're very direct. They say the story is a parody of unnecessary censorship.
And they don't hold back. They specifically call out the strict censorship laws and algorithms of YouTube and social media platforms. The author calls that trend a disgrace.
And suddenly, the whole story clicks into place. The GLRA is a massive exaggeration of content moderation AI.
It makes so much sense. Think about algospeak. You know, how people online have to say unalived instead of killed.
Or spicy accountant instead
Yeah.
of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The author is taking that feeling that you have to constantly walk on eggshells to please a machine and just, okay, the political projection.
It's fascinating because the story itself doesn't mention parties. It mentions a global authority. It feels very bureaucratic, almost corporate.
But that's what happens with speculative fiction. The story gives you a mechanism of control censorship, and then readers project it onto whoever they personally fear.
So if you lean right, you see woke cancel culture. If you lean left, maybe you see corporate boards sanitizing things for advertisers.
Exactly. But the story isn't attacking a specific group. It's warning against the mechanism itself, no matter who's holding the remote. The danger is the tool.
We also found one other tiny piece from this author just to get a sense of their style. It's called A Dystopian 6-Word Tale of Terror.
Oh, I love 6-word stories. It's such a challenge. What is it?
It reads, after nuclear war, unfortunately, he lived.
Oof. Unfortunately, he lived. That hits hard.
It's punchy and really dark.
It confirms this author is interested in bleakness. They write about scenarios where survival isn't the same as victory.
Right. Lena survives, technically. She's alive. But her spirit, her mind, that's gone.
In one story, the environment is so ruined that death is a mercy. In the other, the language is so ruined that the mind is a prison. It seems like the author is really concerned with the quality of human existence, not just the biological fact of it.
So bringing this all back to today, we're not in Neo-Tokyo. I can say sun, I can say freedom, but we are in a world where our language is being gently guided by algorithm.
I think the takeaway is that we need to be vigilant about this trend toward sanitization. Words aren't just labels. They're containers for our history, our feelings, our nuance. When we start deleting them because they're inconvenient for a moderation bot, we are deleting parts of our culture.
If we let the algorithm retrain us to only speak in simple, safe terms, we might lose the ability to think complex, dangerous thoughts.
And ambiguity, the very thing the GLRA hated, that's where the magic is. That's where art lives, where humor lives. A world without ambiguity is just code, and that's a very cold place to be.
It's a use it or lose it situation. If we don't fight for nuance, it might just fade away.
We have to be the whisperers in our own small ways. Maybe not hijacking broadcast towers,
Please don't do that.
but just refusing to oversimplify, using the right word, even if it's a bit risky, engaging in those difficult, nuanced conversations.
I want to leave everyone listening with a thought for today. The story says these words were banned to make people feel safe from ambiguity or offense. We all want to feel safe online, but here's the question. If you had to ban just one word from your own vocabulary to make your life easier, to avoid an argument, to not get flagged, could you do it? And if you did, would you be losing a little piece of your humanity in the process?
That's the question.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the silence. Keep talking, everyone. We'll see you next time.